It's a great day to be a Coyote. Welcome, Coyote Nation, to another episode of Back to Pack Podcast, where we are going to be bringing you all of your favorite games, memories, and of course, discussion with our fellow Coyotes. As a disclaimer, we have no affiliation to the University of South Dakota. This is a podcast ran by fans for fans. The ideas and comments do not represent the university. Our opinions are our own. Be sure to find us on Twitter at BackToPackSD. With that being said, let's jump in. All right, so apparently Mitch just fell in love with Charles Pierre Jr.'s game so much he just wanted to go visit his home state. So we got Mitch with us live from Orlando in the resort, just I don't know, showing off to us or what?
Man, it's beautiful down here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure how he chose us, but I'm glad he did. But yeah, I'm representing. I'm down here close to his hometown, actually.
I will say I left the heat on for you, so I hope it's still warm.
Oh God, yeah, I'm not looking forward to coming back. It's like 82 degrees here.
And tomorrow we get our first snow. So
See, and
woo.
I was gonna say, and I'm the opposite. I'm in Minneapolis tonight, so I went the wrong way, obviously.
No, that's not
All
good.
good.
No, it's the wrong way.
Wrong way.
So, how we feeling after this weekend, boys?
That was as I put on Twitter to your post of you on the roller coaster. The game was a roller coaster ride. It was not fun
Yeah.
to start with. It was really fun in the middle, and then it was not fun at the end.
It's not often you're going to see USD go up to North Dakota and reel off 32 points, unanswered points. That was just absolutely wild.
My one word
Yeah.
is relieved. By the way, relieved.
Yes, easy way to say it.
Yeah, that should maybe be our opening statement, right? Is no matter how you slice it, everyone in the Missouri Valley knows that getting a win in Grand Forks is a tall task, something we haven't done for 40 years. So congratulations to the team for breaking this curse, right? Just another a curse or streak, whatever you want to call it, right? We broke the Youngstown one earlier this year. This is another one. So overall, relieved is exactly right. Exactly right. So,
hey, we won. We did it. I'm going to call it a dominant win, even though, yeah, the score says 6 points, but difference. But I think we should just jump into it if you guys are ready to do that.
Yeah. If you don't mind, for those who didn't know, I actually went up to the game, so I'll share a little bit about maybe a little bit about Grand Forks. That was my first trip to Grand Forks, so I will say drive is tough. We did an up and back in the same day. Would not recommend doing that. But the Alaris Center is a cool, kind of cool, unique venue. We had a good time. We had great seats. We were right behind the Coyote bench, second row, right? So that was kind of fun. That got to interact with the players a little bit here and there. But Alaris it's a cool environment. Fans were really great. They wanted to talk more about hockey than football during the game, which was kind of funny, but very on brand for UND. So I think I got asked 6 or 7 times, "Are you guys going to the hockey game tonight?" Like, no, we're just going to the football game and going home. So, but overall, it was a good trip. It was a good time.
You know what, though, when you actually get a chance, you have a good team over on the ice and a football team that's not quite underperforming, I'd say. Yeah, I'd find something else to talk about.
Yeah, they were a little bit more interested in the hockey team than the football team. I think they were all pretty well aware that the season was over, unfortunately for them. So, but yeah, they didn't go down without a fight. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we talked about it on our preview show, right? We said they had a lot to play for. You know, we listed off several things that we knew they were gonna fight, and they did till the very, very end.
Well, and I'll be honest, when we got up 42-21, I truly thought we crumbled them. I figured that was, that should have been the dagger. It was an unbelievable game by Charles Pierre Jr. That was absolutely wild, and I think that's where we should really start, is on the offensive side of things. Man, we looked flat to start the first half. And really, it was tough. I think, was it our second drive where we missed the field goal? And that, with it being Zeke Mata, it kind of makes me wonder what's going on with the coaches there. Are they thinking there's a kicking competition going on? Because afterwards, then Will went out, kicked ball 2 through the uprights, no problem, and he handled all of the extra points as well.
What was the distance on that kick?
On Zeke's?
Yeah, Zeke's miss. Was it like
So
40,
that was
49?
Okay.
I
was going to say it was
Will
close to
has
50, which, I was going to say it was close to 50, which made me, that's why I thought maybe Zeke came out there for that one because it was longer. And then later, actually, Will's 45-yard field goal barely made it over. So I almost wonder too if that's maybe that's the breaking point of when they decide who's going to go out there, right? Is maybe that 49, 50-yard-ish kind of type area. So I was actually at the time, I was actually kind of surprised that we elected to kick it because one, it was a long field goal, and at that point we were down 14-0. So I thought maybe we were going to continue to kind of try to put the pressure on them.
So our missed field goal, that was our first drive of the game. So at that point they hadn't scored yet, but then they reel off a 68-yard drive right afterwards to go up 7-0.
And when you miss a long one like that, that gives them good field position. So it's not like they had to go too far.
No, exactly.
Yeah, live during the game, we were really shocked that we went for the field goal. We all agreed comfortable going for it with the offense that we have, but more predictably, we thought for sure Bob would have punted that one and just kind of pinned them deep, let the defense go to work again. So that was that was surprising. But that was a little concerning, of course. And then, of course, going down 14-0, you kind of went, oh boy, one team's ready to play and one's not, is how it kind of felt in the beginning.
So the beginning, right? So we had the missed field goal, and then they go down and score, and then on the next drive, is that the interception that Aiden threw?
Yep.
And then they score again, so 14-0.
Yes, and so it got kind of nuts, and we'll start with that interception by Aiden. Honestly, it is, we'd call it his first true pick of the season because the one that came against Murray State, it was 3rd and 12. He threw a deep one to Cron, kind of floated it, and it came up short. They caught it at the 8-yard line. Heck of a punt. Pinned him deep.
That was like a punt.
And then, so this one, I'd say it's his first interception. Had he thrown it a little more to the boundary, it got away from the defender. It probably ends up just being incomplete anyways. Mm-hmm. But it was a heck of a play by the corner to get around. I believe it was Carter Bell. And to make a wonderful play on it.
Right.
And red flags start flying. My group chats blew up on my phone. And of course, I'm just trying to ride some roller coasters here, guys. But I'm watching, we picked the long lines in that situation just so I could watch up until it was ride time. And you're just like, crap, what's going on?
Yeah, so you're down here in Universal Studios, right? Is that where you were?
Yep, that's where we were for the game.
Grant's in Grand Forks riding the figurative roller coaster, and you're down here in Orlando riding the literal roller coaster.
Yep, exactly. It was nuts, but then we kind of get settled in, drive down, get a nice field goal from Will, knock it in from 45 yards out. I think what was tough about this was the penalties setting us back a lot. And we didn't really have a penalty in this drive per se, but it felt like any time we got the offense rolling, we got hit with a holding, we got hit with actually it was really just holding or false start, but had a great screen pass and Jack Martin gets called for a hold, but his buddy would have gotten lit up. And it just seemed like that's the story of the first half until UND goes up 21-10.
Was our first points a field goal?
Yes.
14-3? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because that's when I
felt, the first...
I felt the momentum kind of like like we might have just at that point kind of neutralized the momentum they had just to get some points on the board. Because otherwise, when I saw 14-0, I was getting pretty worried. But then we were able to squeak in a field goal early in the second quarter, and that's when I felt like we at least stopped the bleeding and at least got the momentum back to neutral at that point.
Which is correct, because after that field goal, we forced a punt, and I believe it was even a 3-and-out, 5-and-out, so 1 first down on there. But they punted right away. We got the ball, got rolling with a Carter Bell touchdown. All of a sudden, you felt pretty comfortable with where the game was going. You figured we kind of worked the kinks out.
Yeah, I will say.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think I might be lagging a little bit here too, but
you're good.
No, I will say it's kind of funny. I'm glad that you guys felt like that 3-point felt the bleeding, because live it definitely didn't feel like that. Like we were in there, the UND fans were thrilled to see this USC offense stop and get kicked and have to kick a 45-yarder, especially after the missed one. So I felt like that wasn't great. I tell you what, though, the one that really felt good was that Carter Bell touchdown. The reason I say that, it was on a 3rd and 5. And I remember us as a group, we said, this is a huge down. We got to convert on this. Now, we didn't think we were going to score a touchdown on that particular play, but we all looked at each other and said, we cannot, we got to convert this thing. We cannot give them the ball back. So that play in itself was a huge momentum swing, especially for the fans in the sideline to go, okay, here we go. Now we're back in it. So, but of course, they answered right back, right? And this has all happened right before, even before halftime.
See, and that's where I mentioned I'm just not a fan of how our defense played in this game in general, and we just couldn't get stops like we did. There was chunks of the game where we did, but especially early, just giving up that many points. I know one of them, they didn't have to go too far, but like the other 2 drives, especially right before half, giving up those points, man, that's not characteristic of this defense at all.
Yeah. Well, and we can get into the defense a little more on there too, but on their first touchdown, they were not doing anything besides that 51-yard touchdown play. And I'll be honest, their tight end got a very lucky block. He curled around, took out the linebacker on the strong side of the run. Well, when he hit the linebacker, weak side linebacker was also shooting the gap properly. Unfortunately, he knocked our strong side linebacker right back into him and knocked him off course. It was a lucky block that sprung the entire hole. And that's kind of how it felt for UND as a whole. They kind of got lucky on a lot of things.
Yeah, they had some big plays too, right? I mean, that's which we knew this team is capable of, right? I think we kind of talked about this was going to be one of the better offenses that we've seen, and for whatever reason, the way they play at home is just so much different than on the road. But when they went up, 21-10, especially with, I think it was only with, there's only with 57 seconds left on the clock. That also felt pretty bad. We were like 57 seconds. That one hurt. And then, of course, for us to go, 50 yards in 5 plays, and then Karan having that unbelievable catch to end the half, that's when the momentum really kicked in, because we all looked up and said, oh, man, we get the ball at halftime, right? So that point really felt, even though we were still behind, that felt really good to do that. And then, we already talked about it, but from that point on, the defense really locked in. I mean, to me, we gave up 15 points in the fourth quarter, but, this game felt like it was out of hand at the 42-21 mark. That was with about 9 minutes left in the game. So, very strange up and down game that we're not used to seeing from this team.
I will say, how nice is it to have Keandre Jones-Logan back returning kicks? I mean, he only had 1 return and it was 21 yards, but he scares kickers so much. They kick it out of bounds and gift us starting field position at the 37-yard line because of where it went out of bounds. Yeah. All of a sudden, what's worse now, Keandre taking a return. It's still going to be hard for him to return one for a touchdown, but he can definitely get yardage, or it's a penalty. Your choice.
I want to go back to that final drive before half. We'll call it the Karan Adams drive. he had two big catches on that drive, right? He had the one
Yes.
kind of longer shot that he kind of caught falling down backwards, and then he had the touchdown there in the on the very far side of the end zone, which that, like you said, it was absolutely huge. And then he gets the unsportsmanlike call for spinning the ball in the touchdown celebration. And the only reason I'm going to bring that up is because I just want to say one thing about the refs in this game. I'm not going to dwell on it because we won the damn game, but the refs in this game were absolutely horrible. And listening to the radio call by John Thayer as I was on the plane and then getting to the hotel, there were more than a handful of calls or non-calls in some cases where he was absolutely livid on the radio. Like, oh, I guess they're not going to call two blocking the backs on a kick return that they had. That was a long one with that Seidel guy. And just other holdings that weren't called, the unsportsmanlike conduct there for spinning the ball. I mean, there's just more than a handful. I can't even remember all of them, but they were absolutely horrible. And that's one reason that this game was really as close as it was. I feel like the refs definitely helped them in that regard and probably gave them, some points and kept it close.
Yeah. It was tough.
Yeah, there was definitely that was the most penalties that we've seen this year, just in general, right? I mean, the amount of penalties that were being called, not to mention a few things where you went, oh my gosh, are they going to call a penalty? I brought up the Carter Bell's pass when we kind of ran the, whatever, if you want to call it reverse pass, whatever it was, and at least live, it looked as if the defender had made the decision, I got beat, I'm going to tackle this guy and give up the 15 yards rather than give up the touchdown. And the refs went ahead and rewarded him by keeping the flag in his pocket. So
right, there's another no call.
Yeah, there was some interesting ones, but yeah, by far the most active group of referees that I've seen this year in the Missouri Valley. So hopefully that's not the case. Not the case Saturday. Let's let the boys decide that on the field, in my opinion. So,
right.
Yeah, no, offense. I think after we scored our first touchdown, that opened things up, and we got rolling. I mean, absolutely rolling. And I knew when we scored that touchdown right before half, I think that was, you could have called game from there, even though we're still down 4.
Right.
But we open up the second half, 4-play drive for 83 yards. I mean, we have Charles Pierre Jr. That's all we needed.
He's been on a heater, man, these last couple of weeks. Holy smokes. And then he gets over 1,000 yards, right? The first player in USD D1 history to get over 1,000. So that's absolutely huge. Yeah, that guy's been absolutely money. And I think him and Tice combined had do they have over 300 combined?
It was close.
I believe they did.
Because I think Charles had 170, right?
He did. He also had another 75 receiving. He had a long reception too. So all purpose, I think he ended with 249 all purpose yards, which is just insane. That's some
What did we have rushing?
Video game numbers.
We talked about that on the preview show, that their defense was porous and our run game was going to feast on their poor run defense, because we said it was worse than Indiana State's. And
we could 173 yards for. Yeah, I was going to say 173 yards for Charles Pierre and 130 for Tice for a total of 322.
That's it.
Yeah. So, okay, we nailed that. And we really didn't see that take off until the second half. And that's when we built the lead, right? We were able to finally get a push, and the run game was just chunk after chunk after chunk.
So, just so you guys are aware, our rush offense had 1 yard less than what UND had for total offense.
I could believe that.
Yeah. And that's where it was a very strange game. It really never, minus the beginning and end, the Yotes dominated this game, right? Kind of through and through. Yeah. So Jake, to your point, I think what happened is we scored that last touchdown before halftime. That was such a momentum swing that I think the team went in with that momentum. And also I think they went in the locker room a little pissed off with a chip on their shoulder that these guys were even hanging with them, right? That they allowed that. So that third quarter was huge, right? I mean, we outscored them 10-0 in the third, and took the lead at that point and really took control of the game. But that's kind of my thought on kind of how that went. So I do have to share. sorry, I do have to share the story I was talking about. I kept it as a surprise for you guys as well. But in the third quarter, there was also a very important play where UND was driving and decided to go for it, and they did it on a fake punt attempt.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys saw that
yes,
on that.
I remember.
So here's my story. The reason I bring that up is that as we're sitting there watching the game, I see that they came up short. I think it was like 4th and 2, and they're on their near midfield, right? So it's happening right in front of us. And I turn to my friend Andy, and I said, Andy goes, "Oh, it looks like they're going to punt it." I said, "There's no way they're punting this." I said, "It's 4th and 2. They've got nothing to lose." I said, "They're going to go for it."
Yeah.
So they tried out the punt team. It's very quiet in the Alaris at this point. I am screaming at the top of my lungs, "Fake, fake, fake." I probably said it 10 times, and my buddy looks over. He's like, "Grant, shut up. Like, just stop." He's like, "Shut up. Just stop." I said, "No, they're faking it. I guarantee it." So the reason I bring that up, I have to know if the players / coaches heard me. Like I said, they were 10 feet away from me. I know for sure some of them heard me, but I'd like to take credit for calling out the fake and us successfully making sure that pass got knocked down.
we talked about that on the preview show. We said they were going to do some stuff like that. I think you even mentioned a fake punt or fake field goal.
Which those Hawks 360 guys said the only way we're going to win this is if we get creative. And they even said, I wouldn't doubt them running a fake punt.
Yeah.
So obviously, and that's not Indiana State ran a fake punt against us too.
Right.
What are they seeing on film that they think they can do?
Yeah, it was funny. So I should say that's my ask. Maybe I need to clip this and put on Twitter or something. But I need verification from a player or coach that they heard me screaming fake like a psycho, and that really led to the stop.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
That's awesome. I love it.
It was. I was like, all the guys around. I say all the UND fans around me were turning around. They're like, "Wow, you were all over that one."
We all were.
Yeah.
Did you see Tim White break them up?
That's right. That's right. Oh,
all right. So,
but anyways, I digress. That's my story from the trip, of course. But back to the real stuff.
I will say I definitely enjoy you guys all finding my tweet from back in April or May that said something along the lines of who's going to be a household name by the end of the season, and Karan Adams was my quote tweet. I forgot about that tweet, and all of a sudden my notifications are going off, and what the hell is this about? And yeah, it's that. I tell you what, I'm excited for his potential with this too.
Yeah,
he is such a threat for only 2-3 catches a game, but any one of those, just like Keandre returning a kick, could be housed. And it was kind of funny watching UND put so much focus on a 2 to 3 catch kind of guy.
Yeah, I think he's kind of forced people to do that, right? I mean, over the course of these games, he's turned into what felt like kind of in the beginning of a what do we have here gadgety type player, to where now I think he's consistently, getting 2 to 3 catches, but knowing that when he's getting the ball, it's not a 5-yard out, right? It's not a 5-yard slant. This guy is a huge threat, and you have to keep eyeballs on him now. So I'm excited. I think he's getting better every week.
Well, and I will say the best part is they are using him on the out routes now too. They are taking advantage of what he can do on there. Obviously, anything that any player did offensively in this game, doesn't matter who, whether it is Aiden throwing for 3 touchdowns very easily, very quietly, Carter Bell going off, Karan Adams having a wonderful drive. Doesn't matter who you were, you're being overshadowed. Hell, even Tice ran for 130 yards, and we forgot about that.
Right, and a touchdown, yeah.
Exactly. But no, I do want to just say in the notes here for Karan Adams, he is averaging a Missouri Valley best at 31.9 yards per catch.
Home run threat. Yep.
I was just going to say that a true home run threat that you have to plan for, or you will be the victim of it, right? There's enough games and there's enough film to show you that he will make you pay if you don't have a plan for him.
And Aiden's finally gotten comfortable in how he plays. That's always something that you see out there. We noticed it. I mean, right away at Northern State, he had Karan Adams running down the sideline, and surprisingly, he overthrew him. I didn't think you could overthrow somebody that runs as fast as him, but they did.
Right.
That chemistry is being developed, and I'm really excited to see. This offense is just so much fun to watch. Sometimes I do feel bad for Coach Davis because there's so much to it that I think he might think too hard about it too. And that's where you kind of see those plays where we shoot ourselves in the foot because we got cued on a play or, well, shoot, Jack Martins hasn't touched the ball lately. Let's get him a play. And he overthinks it. Just, take advantage of what the game's providing.
Well, it's tough when you have that many playmakers and only one football,
Exactly.
I mean, it is what it is. And, I think I would say overall for the offense in this game, I literally think they saved the day. And we got over that magical, kind of hit that 42-ish number that we've been hitting all season. And on that, on Saturday, it was just enough. I do think the defense had a letdown. But the offense, in my opinion, the offense elevated, and it's a team game, So when the defense has a bad day, and the offense is able to pick up the slack, and that was just enough, to get the W and get the hell out of there.
And I'm going to pose this question to you, and then anybody also that's listening with us live here. How perfect was having that game, though? How critical was it to have a game like this right now to kind of relearn yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's not all bad, especially going into the game that's coming here this Saturday.
Exactly. It's okay. And UND, their offense is potent. They have some power. They have some firepower.
Yep.
I do like Simon Rumpelo. He is a pain in the ass kind of quarterback. Gets out of the pocket, runs hard. I mean, we saw Barros take a way more aggressive shot than needed.
Yeah, and he left the game too, by the way. I don't think he came back after that.
And we'll pose that one up to Grant because he was on the sidelines watching, but I did not see Shaheed come back in after that.
No, I don't believe he did either. I mean, he took a pretty big shot. He jogged off under his own power and went to the sideline, but I don't believe he came back in the game after that.
Listening to Coach Bob's presser, he didn't say it directly, but he's hinting that he's in concussion protocol.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That actually, to be honest, it was actually a little scary because when that hit occurred, I don't know if it showed the same way on TV, but he went down and he did not move for a long time.
Right.
Which always makes you extremely nervous when that happens. So for him to be in concussion protocol, or if he is in concussion protocol, that would make a lot of sense just based off of that. But the good news was he did pop right back up. But we were even kind of jokingly saying as we were watching him jog off, we were pretending like we were the trainers saying, no, give me that helmet. You come sit over here. You're good. You're done for today. Right. So, that's not shocking. So we'll see if we see him Saturday or not, but that's obviously a tough protocol to get through. If that's the case. I guess I don't know that for sure, but
you got to feel for the kid too, because last season he played lights out. He obviously was shadowed by Miles Harden, but he played lights out. Excited to see what he can do against NDSU after that Sacramento State game, but blows out his knee. I'm pretty sure they never really truly announced what it was, but I think he did tear his ACL in that. And now, you wanted him for this game. Hopefully he's back for the NDSU game because, it's probably one that he had circled on the calendar just a little extra over some of the other players.
Yeah, and the other one I was going to bring up too was no Dennis Shorter in this game, which in my opinion really hurt. And I think there was times in that game where it showed. And Dennis's leadership, his ball hawk and playmaking ability. I think that really, really showed in this game. And I heard he's actually trending in the right direction to be back for the NDSU game. So fingers crossed on that one.
Yep. But do you guys have anything you want to talk about?
I was going to say off of that, Bob kind of made the comment too, right? Shorter's kind of our, call it quarterback on defense, right? So if you start to compare it like that, that's a huge loss, and maybe that is the reason why we're kind of off to a slow start, right? Especially in the first quarter, middle of the second, we really seemed kind of sluggish. So a lot of things to kind of consider, but I think overall, I think the Yotes played pretty well. I think I mentioned it before the show started, but all the UND fans left about 42-21 when he scored that last touchdown with about 9 minutes left. I really felt like the game was over, minus some. We haven't even hit on the onside kick protocol if we wanted to spend any time on that. But
yes,
outside of some, misses on the onside kick protocol, I think that game could have been done about 35 minutes prior to when it actually got done. So,
well, and that's what I want to talk about was that last 5 minutes, right? Because we were up 42-21 with roughly 5 minutes left in the game, and then Rumfo takes it in for a rushing touchdown to kind of, put us on edge a little bit, and that's when the onside kick happens. Is after that touchdown.
Yeah, that. And I think
we seem to be comfortable giving up that first touchdown. Like, you know what I mean? We went into the prevent like Jake loves so much as going into the prevent defense, but we seem to be comfortable letting them burn off some clock and, driving and kind of going up the field, but backbreaking when you don't recover the onside kick the first time. It just creates a little bit more momentum, a little bit more going on. The defense has to go back on the field, so not ideal.
No.
Yeah. I said this off air, but on air, the only thing prevent defense prevents is it prevents you from being able to play your defense, and it allows the opponents to score. I hate prevent defense. Play your game. Know where Bo is. You'll be just fine. We've gotten this far with in the second half. They didn't score a single point up until 20 minutes into the half, and then they finally scored again.
See, and part of me thought, and I know you mentioned that, and I agree, but part of me thought, were we doing that because of the personnel that we had? You're down Shorter, you're down Barrows. What, was that part of the reason, or was it just straight, that's just what, Johansson wanted to do in that situation? I don't know, but and part of me thinks that it might have been just due to the personnel that we had on the field at that point. Because I think you had Caleb McKenzie also playing cornerback in some of those series. So, was that just because of the personnel and we didn't like the way we matched up with Bo Belquist, and so did we just get conservative or what?
It was conservative. It's any team will do it in this situation. It's try to make them go, 7 yards. Let them gain the 7 yards. Don't let them get the first down to stop the clock. Just keep the clock rolling. Keep them in bounds. Swarm them. Don't let anything behind you. And that you'll see that in any game out there. I just hate it. It makes your defense look bad.
Yeah, I think situationally it was the right move, and we were pretty content. And even us as the fans, when we were watching it, letting them pick up 6-7 yards here, we're thinking, okay, there's only 9 minutes left. They're going to eat up. I think they ended up eating up like 5 minutes of it. So, again, it all comes down to just recover the onside kick the first time, and that really ends the game at that point. So, really, just that part of it too. But also, shout out, you just said it, Bo Belquist. Shout out to him. He's a hell of a player. I think he's going to get a shot on Sundays.
Career. Yeah,
heck of a career, and I think he'll get an opportunity. He's a hell of a player, and he had a great game, right? 10 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. So he was a real problem on Saturday, and I know he has been his whole career for the most part. So kudos to him.
I'll tell you, Bill Belichick will definitely draft him if he was still coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the kid, I'd say a Hall of Fame career for him. So I'm glad we don't have to deal with him anymore. But I think let's talk about these kicks, and then let's get into players of the game.
All right.
I'm just going to say it, and everybody said it. I don't think our kick return team knows the rules fully of a onside kick. It truly felt like the team didn't realize that if you're the returning team, you can just jump on the ball whenever. And so that's kind of where I was at with it.
Yeah, that is exactly what it appeared like live, too. Oh, sorry, I think I lost you guys for a second. But no, I was just going to say, live, it certainly appeared that way. Like, it was frustrating to watch because the ball was literally spinning in front of him about 8 yards. We're kind of all waiting for him to just jump on the ball, and they just kept waiting until it got so close. So I don't know. It had to be one of two things. Either the team didn't understand that you can jump on it before the 10 yards, or somewhere along the line, the coach is saying, hey, if they're going to kick it onside, because the guy put it on the tee sideways and had it where it was spinning this way long ways, right? I don't know if there was something else to say, hey, try to wait until that ball is done spinning so it doesn't pop out. That's the only other thing I could think of. It's got to be one of the two. I think it's the first, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think it was Carter Bell, if I remember right. Him and Tice were kind of right there. But if you look at it, it almost looks like one of two things. The one is that was it spinning in a weird way to where it was going to take a bad hop, and he was afraid to grab it, knowing that he was going to, fumble it in some way, shape, or form. It wasn't going to be able to secure it. They're going to get it. Or two, waiting for it to go 10 yards, making sure that it's actually going to go 10 before they touch it.
Right, because that's the other crux of it too. If you're a return man and you don't think it's going to make it 10 yards, then you don't even have to recover it, right? Then it's over and it's so. But yeah, I don't. Again, not something you probably practice a lot. Maybe you practice it 1 or 2 times every week at the, so surely there's some spotlight on that now, but a little frustrating to say the least. It extended a game that had no business being extended.
Monday's practice was probably a refocus on prevent defense and onside kicks is all it was.
So I'll say this: as ugly as that one was, the second one was just as ugly, guys. I mean, that ball was it bounced 3-4 times between 4 different players, and somehow, some way, Grandpa Tice falls on that ball and holds on for dear life at the bottom of that pile. I mean, that one was that one could have been secured, like I said, at least 3 or 4 times. I mean, there's guys kicking it, grabbing it, dropping it. I mean, that was just as ugly in a different way, right?
How fitting was it that it came down to Tice and Bo Belquist fighting for it?
Yeah, I thought that was actually a pretty cool moment, not gonna lie. And especially because we ended up with it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a Missouri Valley moment if I've ever seen one, right? That is 2 guys who have given it all to the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, I've been there. Both guys been there for 6 years and given their all for their teams.
Exactly. No, it's nuts, and it's definitely going to be a focus. Hopefully it's one of those things we don't have to worry about again. You'd think 42-21 would bury an opponent and kind of take the fire off of them, but I think I told you guys this off air, but I think it was UND's coaching for his career. Wouldn't be shocked at the end of the season with the way they performed compared to on the road versus at home. If it's one of those things where a forced retirement might be staring him down the barrel.
One of the UND Twitter accounts that we interact with, I can't remember if it was UND 360 or the F and Hawks, but one of them said, "Yeah, good game. This is what happens when you employ your most senior citizen as your head football coach."
Poor guy. He's like, had a.
I mean, I don't know. He's average, I guess. He's an average coach. I mean, whatever.
He's had a lot of good seasons. He just, we thought a lot of them thought they'd get over the hump. I will say, and I can't find it. I wish I could. I put out a tweet sometime before the season started, and I said the biggest frauds of the Missouri Valley was going to be UND. I ended up getting it wrong, kinda, because you and I are the biggest frauds.
Yeah.
But I called that
honorable
one.
mention SIU, but
yeah, that one. I'd say the wheels fell off, but I think the entire car fell apart for them.
Yeah.
It was a tough year for the Missouri, besides the top 3 teams and Missouri State, but nobody cares about them because they're ditching us.
So 2 more things I want to shout out. How about Will bouncing back? I think did he end up with 2 made field goals? 2 out of 2?
2 made field goals, yep. And then all the extra points.
He did.
So he bounces back. That was really great to see. And then the other shout out I want to do is to Yote fan. I don't know if he's still in here, but I'm blaming him for this close game because he predicted like 28-24, something. It was something like that.
That's right.
We were all like 38-10, 38-13, somewhere in there, 35-10, whatever our predictions were. You know, we thought we'd easily cover the spread, no problem. And then Yote fan throws out a heart attack game, and that's basically what it ended up being.
Yeah. We can't keep blaming
moral of the story is we just need Yote fan to give us about a 49-0 prediction against NDSU.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, do that on Thursday night, Yote fan.
That's right.
All right, you guys ready to get into the keys?
Yep.
All right. Or not keys, but
players.
Top. Yep. Sorry. I will say this. The 3 days at Universal, we put in, I'd say, at least 80 rides total.
Jeez.
I was an adrenaline junkie. I hit every roller coaster at least 3 times. And so I've been really putting some work in that. I'm pretty sure I have an adrenaline hangover right now, and I'm just absolutely exhausted. I mean, the reason we canceled our show last night, Grant, you were traveling. Mitch, you're getting settled in Orlando, and I'm pretty sure I was in bed at 8 o'clock. So
you need a vacation to recover from your vacation, man.
Dude, I tell you what, I need to just go sip a pina colada on the beach and not do anything is what I'm missing on. But yeah, with it, we can definitely talk key players. Easy one on offense. And if anybody says anyone different, there's only one other answer you can say differently, but Charles Pierre Jr.
Yep.
Unanimous? Is this our first unanimous for sure?
Oh yeah.
It's easy call.
It's unanimous. He's Missouri Valley Player of the Game. It's crazy.
Whatever that crap means.
Get out
here. Youngstown State. No one cares about them. They're bottom of the barrel right now too. But what can you say about that game that we already haven't said, but I did get a chuckle out of it. I don't know if you guys remember Ray Rice for the Ravens, but it's an interview post game. They're asking him about this 3rd and 29 play. And he's like, yeah, they dumped it off to me 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. And, hey, diddle diddle, Ray Rice up the middle. And he took it for a touchdown. So I quote tweeted that it felt like the exact same play, except for it was only 3rd and 5 for ours. 53 yards. This kid's electric. And all I'm going to say is just enjoy him this season. I have some concerns now.
And a much better guy off the field, too, than Ray Rice, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we don't talk about that.
Oh, yeah, so Charles Pierre, man, yeah, he's just a stud, right? He is an absolute stud.
Grant's definitely on a delay, if you can't tell.
Yeah, I can tell.
Wait for it.
I mean, I can hear you guys, but I think my video is way behind.
Okay.
I was going to say Ray Rice had his ups and downs, but I don't know if that's an appropriate joke.
Especially that it was in an elevator.
Just kicking him while he's down.
Let's not do it.
Sorry, I'm tired. Okay? Let's flip it over to the defensive side now, though. This one's kind of sporadic, obviously, with allowing 15-point plays or 15 points to end the fourth quarter. Made it tougher to decide on this. I'm going to go with someone that hasn't been talked about quite often, Tim White. He played very well on the coverage. It's a good thing when your name's not talked about really in the secondary because you're not getting tested. He played well. If I remember correctly, he either led the team in tackles or he was one away from that. He had the pass breakup on the punt or the fake punt that they ran. He was actually involved in that. So that's where I'm kind of getting it from. Guy put in a heck of an effort, especially filling in for Dennis Schroeder being out.
All right. Yeah, I like that.
Mitch, you want to?
All right,
Mitch, you want to go next?
You can go. That's fine.
He's still thinking of it because it was a tough.
Yeah,
one.
I was going to say I'm going to go with a. Yeah, no, that's. I was going to say I was going to go with a I'm going to pick this because I also said pregame that I thought he was going to have a big game, and he did end up having a great game. That's Nick Gase. Had 2 tackles for losses, one of them being a sack. And then also had a quarterback hit as well. But he was disruptive all game long, which we kind of predicted that he would be. So that was good to see. But yeah, overall, I mean, a pretty big group effort from the defense in general. So I don't think there's any wrong answers for the defensive side, or there's no one that has eye-popping stats from the game.
How many rushing yards did UND have?
They actually ended up with quite a few. But I'd say it was pretty. Let's see here. I'll tell you exactly.
100.
I was going to say it's 143 rushing yards.
Yep.
But I was going to bring this up earlier. We kind of moved past it though. But 51 was on that one run.
Yep.
By
that we had a shot at.
Seidel.
Seidel.
Yeah. So that again, you can't take out big plays, of course, but just for context, outside of that, kept them contained pretty well for the most part.
And then how many were Rumfo's? How many yards did Rumfo have on the ground?
Well, he got sacked a few times.
He only ended up with 36.
Yeah. Okay. So
I was going to say, his are skewed a little bit.
I would go for my player. Gary Bryant, I'm sure was active in the middle, but I'm going to go Blake Holden.
Yeah, honestly, and we'll get into it more with the preview show coming down later this week. But how refreshing is it to see this development of the D-line? They were good to start the season. I was very impressed with them. But this second step that they took, and I'm really going to focus on the SDSU game where that step happened.
Yeah.
But what Blake Holden, Nick Gase has done to really solidify themselves, and I will tell you that I noticed on the defense adjustments, we really switched to Carter Hooper and Jonathan Bunce on the DN side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did is they worked contain and got out on the edges in the second half. Well, all those long runs that they were getting on the edge disappeared in the second half. And that's really a testament to the adjustments that they made on the D-line. It's going to be fun to watch, and they have to be prepared when this next game.
Yeah, I mean, NDSU is still a run-first team. I know they're throwing the ball more this year and putting up some good passing numbers, but yeah, they're still a run-first team. In fact, they're very I would say, without looking at stats and getting too far ahead of us on that game, but I would just say that this two very similar teams in terms of construction and play style.
They just don't have a running back over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, which is
That's right. Yeah.
And they don't have the true dynamic running backs like they have had in the past. Like the quality of running backs they have are good, but they're not the great ones that they've had historically.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm excited for it. But you guys got anything else about this game?
Just glad we hung on, man. The monkey's off our back.
No, I don't. Not on my end.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I'm just going to say it. I need to go to bed. So we'll catch all you guys later. I'm looking forward to chatting with you on Thursday. Go Yotes.
Go Yotes.
Go Yotes.